All right. So then, lard looks very similar to fard here at the top. Um, it makes its own thread ID. It has a tick to make sure that we don't use the same thread ID if you call it twice in the same event, for example. Um,
I mean, these two cases do kind of look like we might want sort of like one initialization function or something, but like that these should actually maybe share the same code.
let's see.
They're really, really
Let's see what the difference is. So the list of arguments is different. The thread
there's
ID is
con lard
different, and this is
fired,
different.
and then the args are different, and we pass spider inline, so spider start. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about half of it basically. I feel like. And if there were another way of running it, another possible way of running it would be something that looks more like fired. Although fired actually just uh, defers to fard, but there,
Yeah, I think if we reorganize it slightly, it would look different, right? So like TID, for example, is only used in args and the call to watch spider.
yeah,
Um, so if you kind of group that more, then it might be sort of more obvious how you could have something that does both of these and looks reasonable.
yeah. I mean, the other way that you'd imagine this being extended is by maybe you're accepting source um, from the outside from
Yeah, right.
Unix, and so yeah, it's not. What I mean, honestly, maybe the answer here is that it's not Dojo that unifies these. Like we were talking before about how Spider could only accept inline stuff, and it could be that Con is the one that for Fard just builds the thread from Ford and then slams it with the arguments and then goes to lard. That would give a natural like delegation between
Yeah,
these.
yeah, that might be nice. Yeah, I think the other way to try to break up, I think that long term that might be right. And then in terms of do we get these to share code right now? I mean, I think that like there's something about the actual there like if we can separate this into two phases. One is like building up the args, and then the other is actually like applying the args. Um, so basically, like the congate turn of watch and poke with passing the note. I don't know, and the like incrementing tick. Um,
Yeah.
right, if you do congate with tick replaced by loss of tick, and then they're just two different ways of assembling arguments to the like like actually start a thread function.
Yeah. You would presumably, yeah, like this part is the same as this, but if you abstract over that, then it's harder to abstract over this, and so
Right. I would.
you
Yeah, I
could do the
wouldn't
whole
abstract over
cage,
that.
right? Say basically,
Yep.
you would pass in the thread ID
Yeah.
and args and
Margs as a cage.
the bear, I
Right.
guess. Sorry, say again.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I guess I was thinking.
the args. Yeah, sorry, as a cage. So with the
Yeah,
yeah, um, that's doable. I feel like
the minor
in
improvement. I
in
think
a whatever it is,
a little bit arguable.
200 line vein or something. Um, I feel like it's maybe a little cleaner to have the duplication of a couple of lines.
Yeah, the only thing I'd worry about at all would be that like it has the same pattern of like tis dot tick with loss of tick. Um,
Yeah,
right. You have to remember that in all the different cases. I remember
right,
old Air had a case where like it had a bug where it wasn't doing that. Right. Like
right.
that's the kind of thing where it reminds me of this like design for invariance thing, right? It's like
Yeah,
if we can make it so every time you start a thread, like that is that start function, that start thread function, like increments the tick. That just feels a little safer to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want, we can go ahead and just like try that, see what it looks like, because
Yeah, let's do it.
this is the end, right? We already looked at the search
Okay, cool.
spider, and this is lip strand. So if you're just wanting to
All right.
know
Yeah, all the rest
what
looks
what inline
looks
threads
good to
look
me.
like,
Like,
this is done, and we can transition into a little bit of live coding.
all right, let's do it.
Yeah. So then we were looking at con to see if in call we like what it would look like to abstract over fard and lard right here. I'll keep them both up here, and I'll put the abstraction arm here. Is there another ard word to use, or should it just be ard?
Yard.
Ard. What'd you say? Yard.
Yeah, yard. Bard is fine though.
We'll do bard.
Either whatever.
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I don't think any of these get used anywhere else. All right. And so this, I believe, is going to take the thread ID. We probably actually have a type for that. Yeah, it's this one.
Yeah, we could use that type in line 164 also.
Yeah. And elsewhere. Oops. Well, I'll just rewrite it. All right. So it's going to take that, and it's going to take
A bear edge, right?
bear in a cage. Yeah. We don't. Just making sure we don't like tis common rand. Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And so that, and this is going to be going to produce a con gate. And
Well, it's a pair of backs, isn't it?
oh yeah, you're right. What's the style here? Is this? All right. And so it's going to start by updating tick. It's going to get the beak this way. We might not need a tisfaz for it. We'll see if we can do it in line, but this is fine for now. It's not .task anymore. Where's get beak defined? Yeah, it gets called in a couple places. It's fine. And then this is like this turn and stuff. I feel like is overkill, right? It can just be.
Yeah, I agree.
And in fact, like poke spider and watch spider might as well just.
Yeah, the only places they could use, then yeah.
Pretty sure, yeah. They'll need a hen, I guess, but I mean, or you do it this way. I think they should just take a hen.
A hint?
The duct.
Oh, a hen. Okay, yeah.
I'm not even sure that's quite the right wire for it, but it's. I mean, it works fine. The other option would be to like coal hep onto that, but I think if you're going to have a helper function, it might as well do everything. Right.
Probably. Yeah. There are different patterns. User space stuff does often just like have functions that emit cards, and you stick a duct onto the head of the card or whatever you need.
Yeah.
But whatever, it's either
But
way.
if you're but like that makes more sense if you're doing like an emit or like kind of pattern. But here we're just about to produce it.
Yeah.
So I feel like we're kind of in move land. All right, so it's this except Um, this is now cage, and this is the same. Oh, beak doesn't even. Yeah, we actually don't even need that because that goes into the cage, right? Because that ends up in the args, and we're abstracting
Oh, interesting.
around that.
All right.
It's,
Yeah.
I mean, there are other ways to do it, but I think this is
Yeah, it's a fine first start.
right.
Might be the
So
way we keep it. By the way, watch spider and hook spider should return move instead of note.
yeah, good point. Right. So the argument in favor of this abstraction is it guarantees that you do the right. Um, like the couple things that are hard about this is make sure that you're updating your state correctly. This is also where you would put by that mapping of thread ID deduct. You would do that in here, and
Yeah.
then it's very
Right.
important that you do the watch before the poke, for example. So those are all
Yep.
the like relatively delicate things. And then the way
Yeah.
that's going to get called here is like this. We probably don't have to do it in quite as Tisfaz heavy of a form, but it's essentially this. Um, or
Yep.
some spider inline args.
Yeah.
Which this is clearly like, okay, that's rote, but it's rote in an obvious way. This is clearly just a choice that you doesn't. There's nothing special about it other than, I guess, yeah, use that. Another option, of course, would be to put that part. Yeah, actually, this could
I
be
think it's
instead of a
better
thread
not
ID,
to track that.
it could be a prefix, and that way Bard will guarantee that you're mixing in tick and any, and you don't have to care about tick at all.
Oh, that's an interesting point. Yeah. Okay.
Right? You do.
Yeah. Okay, that's better.
Because
But
then,
maybe call it a prefix instead of calling it a TID.
yeah,
That way,
yeah, that's true.
like it's gonna be, yeah.
And then actually just call it yeah. And then this should probably be a Tiz Faz.
Yep.
Right. So that makes this a
But
little cleaner, and it guarantees that you're using tick correctly. Say again.
oh, wait, so you gotta, line 181, we got to fix that up. Where it's referring to TID, it's got to TID or tick. It's got to be 181.
Oh, right.
It's got a prefix. Yeah.
Right. So
I would just call
that's still tick,
it-
but this is prefix. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are we doing mixed tick? It is mixed or a mixed prefix in the end there.
This is mixed tick.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
mixed tick.
Yeah, because that's
Yeah, okay,
the counter. Is mix even correct? XOR into it? Yeah, I think that's fine. You could add also,
Better than nothing.
but I think XOR works fine there. I'm always wary of XOR because it's so symmetric, but I think that's fine here.
Yeah. Well, as long as we increment tick each time, then it'll be different.
Right. Yep. Okay. Then this part's done. Yeah, that's not bad, especially because this doesn't have to be very far away. And
Yeah.
then Fard looks similar. That one I think is still named wrong. And honestly, or no, it has to go in. Oh wait, it goes into the arguments.
We forget to add this to, yeah. Instead of TID, it should be prefix, right?
But it has to be the
Oh,
actual
actually,
thread ID.
we have to generate args inside of Bard.
We could. If we do, then Bard has to take in an each instead of a cage. Or a function. But that's probably a bit much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another option would be to just make this be a function and say, get tid with the prefix. Right, so it would
Yeah.
look like and that way you actually do have it here. You don't have to do the tick handling yourself.
That also, it could be that that's the thing that increments tick. And do it as a tiscat.
You could. It's really the sending of it that matters. I don't know.
Yeah. So the args here, it's a beak and it's a shed.task. I mean, it's actually both calls to this call get beak on the bear, right?
Right. Right. But the problem, okay. So the alternate version
But
of
maybe
Bard
instead of
would be
pass it, bear and shed, or bear and
this would
each
be
of shed and the other thing.
right. Each of shed and what's the other one? Whatever p.fide is. Wait. q.args.fide and name.fide. Yeah, so it's name and cage. Yeah. Right, so it'd be that. It could be an each, or it could be an explicit bucks and let's see, because if it is this,
Yeah.
payload's not a good name, but right, then basically we could generate the args here by saying, okay, there's your thread ID, and this is a what hep of payload.
Yeah.
Well, and args, then it'd be the whole k. I mean, because the head of it also depends, and so you'd probably just do the whole thing as it's what hep dot payload, and then it's if it's Pam, then it's this with p dot payload. If it's bar, then it's this with name args. Except it's not just that. It's spiders or inline and spider start.
We need to pass a bear in here, don't we, so we can get the beak?
Yes. So then it'd be bear. And then we do this. And then args is a little bit overloaded here because the argument to the thread, and then there's the
We'll just call it cage.
Yeah, that's fine. Except this needs to be a vase.
Yeah.
And it should probably honestly be cast so it'll hit get some caches, so it'll be pointer equal to the type that it's gonna get zap galled against. But this is fine for now. So it would look like this. Bard then gets more complicated than either of the original ones, and then this here then becomes but the nice thing is that then this
Actually, we
becomes
don't call it get tid, right? Yeah.
conlard. Right. There's no that anymore.
We
Bear
get
dot
and square.
task, and then Pam shed dot task, right? And then you don't need this. So the argument in favor of that is of course the call site, which looks like that here,
Yep.
and over here looks like uh, it's like we'll say name and args from p dot task.
Is it that or is it q.args?
It still comes in as a cage here, but that's so
Okay.
here is where it should be q.args. Because con
Okay.
accepts a cage, because really spiders should be more in terms of cages than vases. Yeah.
All right.
Right. So that, yeah, I mean, that's got a lot to recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Have some intuition, like maybe calculating the cage. Oh, we calculate the tid inside, and so yeah,
Right.
that's why we have to make the cage there. Yeah.
Right.
Right, and this would be easy to extend if we make it a buck send with like a third one that's do it with like sending
Right.
tune source. Just make a type for payload, and then
Yeah. I mean, and the way that you would reduce the number um of like what types of alternations would be to move the alternation in, and basically in spider, instead of taking in spider inline and spider start, you take in spider start and it has a an each or a buck send or something
oh,
starting right here, and then Bard is actually just much simpler because it's the alternation only has to
yeah,
happen where something's actually different,
right.
which is not that hard.
You got to do Yeah, you got a duplicate bar at 166.
Oh yeah.
I
That
kind of
seems
feel
all
like this
right.
is a little clearer, even though it is a sort of more complicated function.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's not bad. If we had the other one, then it would be. I mean, you would actually just do it in line, right? It would be. Okay, let me get rid of this. Poke spider, and then it would be spider start. And then it would be payload. Right. That would be a nice one.
Right. Yeah, and then it's like a clear win, I think, if we get to that stage.
Yeah. Do you think we should get all the way to that, or just leave it? Because I don't think it matters that much, and Con will get cleaned up at some point, anyways.
Yeah, I think just like this is good. You lost the close parent on cage.
Yeah.
163.
Yeah. That seems decent.
But yeah, I think this looks fine to me.